What
Not
is up,
cool at
everybody?
all.
Happy Friday.
Hello, happy Friday. I'm
Happy
so
Friday.
excited to be here.
We really
Woo,
have
Friday.
an all-star lineup today of speakers, like serious OGs in the Web3 space here. You guys can't see him, but behind the Opolis O is OX Joshua, one of the OGs at Opolis. He's been here biddling community for years on DAOs, and just an awesome human being. We got Haley, the community manager of Camp Social here. Amber, one of my dear friends, someone I've known for a while in the space, that is actually one of our ambassadors and the CXO of Camp Social. And we got Russell, also one of our ambassadors and a steward of Bufficorn Ventures. And then we got a surprise speaker today, Zvi Band, who is the founder of Camp Social. And then, of course, some familiar faces in the audience. I see Dylan from Bridge Builders DAO, Travis from our marketing team, Griff. What's up, everybody? Super grateful to see you all here today. So my name is Rachel. For those of you that don't know me, I am a coalition success steward at Opolis. And what Opolis is a member-owned digital employment cooperative. And we're essentially providing independent workers and freelancers and digital nomads the same benefits they would get as a corporate worker, basically W-2 benefits, all of the benefits of a corporate position with all the freedom of freelance work. So we're here today to empower individuals to take charge of their employment and to become self-sovereign. So I will pass the mic over to Joshua and we'll give all the speakers a chance to introduce themselves.
Sure. Thanks, Rachel. Always love joining these spaces with you. You say such nice things about me. I'm 0x Joshua, as many of you know me by my Buffcorn probably. I worked in driver growth and user acquisition at Lyft, made the jump to crypto to work at Consensus. If anybody knows Consensus, they know they overhire and then have to overfire. So that was a short 6 months. Was ready to give up on the space, and a bunch of friends were like, no, go to Eat Denver, guaranteed you'll find a job. And I found a bunch, the most important of which was with Opolis, and I've been here for almost 3 years now. It'll be 3 years in about a month. I started as a membership steward, and now I'm I guess still sort of a membership steward and evangelist, preaching the good word of how Opolis can help.
Our founder likes to say that Josh is out there kissing the babies and evangelizing the good word of Opolis.
He does like to say that. I think I've been to at least like 20, maybe 30 Ethereum events. And not once have I actually kissed a baby.
I've heard it so many times. Josh is out there kissing babies. Like, it's hilarious.
Yep, just spending all my time committing crimes.
We got to usher in the next generation of degens, like, got to get them while they're young.
I guess a little like fun fact about me, I set up a Twitter account for my he's now almost 4-year-old. But his first POAP was an ETH Denver POAP from 2022. This is the one that Tap.eth set up that was like I contracted Buffacron. So he got COVID at ETH Denver, and so that was his first POAP.
Who didn't? Like, first of all, that Dead Mouse party last year, everyone was joking that the POAP was a positive COVID test. I literally had to be quarantined in a hotel in Denver for 2 weeks. And let me tell you guys, the altitude of Denver doesn't help with COVID at all. Fun time.
Yeah, so fun fact, this is my first Freelancer Friday, so I hope all of you can make it special for me.
We will definitely try our best, Josh. We have some amazing people here today. I'm really appreciative for everyone that is joining. And something I used to do, I haven't done this for a while, but I would like to welcome you all just to take a deep intentional breath and really just set an intention for being in this space. I want to deliver the maximum value to every single person on this call in some way. I hope that you get something out of this. I hope you learned something today. And I hope that these spaces continue to empower and educate. So I want to welcome you all to just take a deep breath and release anything that's no longer serving you, any stress from the week. This is a safe space, and I want you all to feel welcome. I want you all to feel at home here, and just feel my gratitude for each and every one of you. So, yeah, I will pass the mic now to Haley.
Me first? What a lovely surprise. Hello, I'm Haley. I use they, them pronouns, and I am the community operator for Camp Social, or community operations. I'm just ops. What does ops even mean? It's one letter away from oops. Anyway, I've been in the space since maybe about like June 2020, I'd say. It was just after COVID. I just stopped being able to afford rent. I had to go, okay, great, got to move back home. And this space provided for me like nothing else has. And since then, I've been running Nifty Pride with the lovely Zach Kenny, which is a charity organization that supports great organizations like the Transgender Emergency Fund. I'm also the head of content at Burrito DAO. Even if you think, I don't know that, Haley, you know something I've been involved in. And I think that's kind of like the beauty of this space. And I feel so at home being community opposite Camp Social. And I look forward to telling you all more about it and helping you get involved if you feel so inclined.
Haley, that was one of the most quote-worthy introductions I've ever heard. I actually just made a tweet. What is ops anyway? 1-0 away from oops. Definitely a quote-worthy introduction there. Thank you so much, Haley, for being here today. And now, without further ado, I'm so excited to pass the mic over to Amber. She is just one of my favorite human beings, just always there to shout love and positivity, and just such a supportive, I would say, like, fierce feminine energy in this space. Like, she does so much, and I'm so grateful to have her on the ambassador team. Welcome, Amber.
Aw, thank you, Rachel. That's so sweet. I was just talking with our mutual friend Gary today and saying how
Gary.
we were chatting about Youth Denver and saying, it'd be a dream for the three of us to be on stage together. And
I'm working on it, girl.
he's
I'm
like,
working on it.
he's like, I love that woman so much. I love her
I
energy.
loved her.
And so yes, it's mutual. I see that in you as well. Thank you. Yeah, super stoked to be here. And, for me, if I'm giving like a little background, it's like I've been an entrepreneur for like the last decade, and I've been really passionate around human connection, how we coordinate, how we build together, how ideas are elevated, how we actually connect as human beings in our human doings, and, why we're doing any of the things we're doing. And I've been inspired by the Web3 space because, to be honest, it reminded me when I discovered blockchain. I was just like, oh, wow, this is basically like my notes from 3 in the morning when I feel like I figured the world's problems out. And I was like, this is how everybody's going to win. But, it's not as idealistic. There's, of course, things that are challenges to still be figured out. But I've discovered the community of Kernel and did KB7. I've met so many amazing humans in the Web3 space, including some on the call right now. John Ruth, what's up? Working in the regen space. Got Russ on here from 40 Acre DAOs, working to bring more people of color into the Web3 space. Got Soto listening, who's doing amazing things with regenerative farming and hemp. Just super, super grateful to be supported and surrounded by, so many amazing humans that are really on this shared mission. And for me, that's like what Web3 represents is, who we can be and how technology can be used. And, when I met Zvi, it was actually through a connection through Kernel. And immediately I've actually was building something that was in some way similar. And that was the connection was like, maybe you guys can collaborate. And I immediately was just like, this is a person that I would totally love to work with. This is somebody that I could believe in, that I do believe in, and the product itself, the platform, the community, and the reason behind it, the why of human connection, is at my core. And so it just felt so good to, yeah, start working with Camp Social and meeting Haley and David and Gabby and Shoff, and like the whole team is just absolutely lovely human beings. So super grateful for that. And then just to pin that, Opolis as well, like super stoked. Remember when you started with Opolis, Rachel, and you know, have seen Opolis, the reputation and the platform itself, the tooling, the benefits reach more people. And as I said, being an entrepreneur and freelancer for the last decade, I 100% understand the challenges of navigating payroll, insurance, you know, taxes. And so being able to just have joined Opolis this year, actually, really grateful to look forward to a year when like all my needs are met, you know, from a health side, from an emotional side. I honestly am just so grateful right now for life, and feel like, you know, there's also that clarity, which is what I was calling in 2023. And I think Oblitz helps to provide some of that like structure for clarity, that I was excited for. So, anywho, super stoked. Also, P.S. co-hosts a podcast called All of Us, and that is supported by Camp Social and ETH Denver. I just saw that ETH Denver was on here, so just shout out to that as well. And super excited to see all of you humans, any humans that are going to ETH Denver, and just see you in real life.
Wow, I'm gonna go ahead and use the soundboard here. Thank you, Amber, for that amazing introduction. I don't even know where to start with my level of gratitude for all of these amazing projects on here. Like 40 Acres I met with, and I'm really into the refi, regen movement rather, and I've been learning more about refi as well. I'm in talks with Talent DAO to do some stuff for ETH Denver too. So Amber, there's definitely a ton of opportunities for collaboration there. I'm really interested to see what comes out of Shelling Point too. That's another event I'm interested in, as well as DAO Denver. So there will be a ton of opportunities for us. I'm helping to curate a meetup on the 25th with Bankless DAO and Meta Gamma Delta DAO as well. So Amber, I know that you'll be helping on that. And also, I'm excited to kick off the event with a women's spa day. Like, start off the event with the intention of wellness. Like, Web3 burnout is so real, you guys. And I think taking care of your needs is vital. And Opolis is really helping with that, to just make sure all of your needs are met so you can focus on doing the work that you love. And that's something that's really helped me as an individual. But anyway, I'll get off my soapbox here, and I want to give Russell an opportunity to introduce himself.
Could we actually, I'm so sorry to interrupt, but can we actually have Zvi pop in first, just because I think he can only stay for part of this.
Sure, yeah. Go ahead, Zvi.
Okay, awesome.
Cool. I don't know. I was about to start playing with the soundboard. I didn't realize that's a possibility here.
It's
so thank you for
the
pointing that out.
soundboard. I like to say the soundboard is dangerous. It can easily be abused. So
Thanks everyone, and Amber and Haley, I'm so grateful that we get to work with you all the time. And Rachel, it's awesome that we're on a call together, because I've heard so many amazing things about you over the past couple months with Amber. Background on me: software developer by trade, built and sold a couple software companies before this, and really in 2020, I said that. What is the 10-year problem that I could be super passionate working on? And that's loneliness. I do believe that climate change and loneliness are the two big problems that we need to solve in our lifetime. And I went down all sorts of weird paths, product principles of religion and all sorts of ideas. And really that ended up becoming the idea behind Camp Social, which recognizes and rewards members for building deeper community bonds with each other. Amber can obviously explain it a lot better than I can these days. But incredibly thankful to be here and obviously be part of the greater community that all of us are in.
Super grateful to have you, Zvi. And we'll circle back and talk more about Camp Social and what problems you guys are solving for inclusivity and more community building in the space. But without further ado, I want to pass the mic over to Russell to give an introduction to our attendees today. What's up, Russell?
Hey, Rich, thanks for giving me this opportunity to be with this rather auspicious group of folks here. Very exciting. Let's see. So I am Russell Castanero. What am I? I'm the entrepreneur in
What
residence
am I?
and incubator steward for Above Corn Ventures. I wear a lot of hats, so I have to. Oh, am I going to go all out or make up something silly? So, I started Above Corn Ventures just last year, and it's a super early pre-seed stage venture fund as well as incubator for companies that come out of East Denver in the Web3 space. And we encourage all of our portfolio companies to work full time in the industry. It's one of the conditions of funding. And it is an incredibly fulfilling, exciting, and fantastic job that I have. My my journey to Web3 has been one that is very like I haven't heard many people that had a pathway that I did. I came from consulting back in the very beginning of my career. I was lucky enough to lead the project that actually did the first credit card website in the United States for Universal Card Services. The first website you could log into, check your bill, pay it, pay other things with AT&T on. It was crazy, but I was like hooked on it. And I went on with technology in a bunch of different ways. Ended up living in Hawaii. I was only going to go there for 2 years. I ended up staying for 20. Started a company and we ended up doing all of the electronic government and payments for the state of Hawaii. So if you went to start a business there through us, if you got a ticket or you wanted to get a campsite, you went through our. If you wanted to order Obama's birth certificate, as many people did back in the day, you went through us. And no, because, but but then what was really interesting is this thing happened where the legislature there was the first state to, through its legislature, legalize medical cannabis. And there was this $10,000 licensing fee for applicants who wanted to get a license, and they didn't have bank accounts. So I dug down and started looking into Bitcoin. And sure enough, we had everything set up to start accepting Bitcoin for these things. And then, of course, the legislature said, "Oh, and everything has to be paid for with a paper check," because they had a lot of friends in banking and didn't want people to bypass the banking industry, which was a bummer. So we didn't get to implement that, but I was kind of hooked at that point. And this was back in 2013, 2014. So I, about a year and a half, 2 years later, started another company, WampPay. It was custody-less Bitcoin payments for like the cannabis industry, sex workers, that kind of stuff. And that was a great 2.5 year ride doing that. But what all came out, and then I ended up moving in the middle of that to Colorado. What was really interesting was I realized the real problem that we had to solve for getting anyone on to this new Web3 crypto space was one that was really causing trouble for everyone everywhere, and that is the lack of digital identity. So when I got here to Colorado, which is where I live now, I got really active with all the efforts to work with the legislature, and then Governor Polis at the time. We were all there because it was blockchain week and blockchain day at the Capitol. And he said, "We're in blockchain for the win." And so after that, I was told that there was a position open for the digital transformation director of the state, which I took. And I led the team that developed the first state digital driver's license. So in the state of Colorado, you can download an app, link it up with your regular license, as well as an ID and your picture and all that stuff. And then you have a legal driver's license. And I thought this was kind of the first important step because there were a lot of other companies that were saying, "Oh, this is something states can't handle for themselves. This is something you have to outsource to a big company that handles the same ones that handle the printing of driver's licenses." Like, did you know most states in the United States actually print their driver's licenses in Poland? I didn't know that but anyway. So I got really into that, launched it. And then after launching it and doing all the stuff through the pandemic, which included like your vaccination cards and stuff on the online, um, I felt like it was done, it was accomplished, and moved on to my position now at Buffercorn Ventures. All through when I got here, I went to the first ETH Denver, and I loved it, even though I was a Bitcoiner, not an Ethereum guy at the time. It was, absolutely exciting, and I got the state of Colorado really into it, which every year the governor's office has sort of doubled down to get more and more engagement in. And it is really exciting place. And Colorado, being kind of like the Delaware of co-ops, is the best place that I can imagine for something like Opolis to come in with this real democratizing of employment and letting people have equal access to employment benefits regardless of whether or not you're working for company A, company B, or and I think we're incredibly privileged to live this time, in this time in history, and to see what's about to happen largely as a result of not just Web3 and blockchain, but the efforts behind what Opolis is really trying to do in the big picture.
Wow, that was a really just OG introduction, Russell. We are so excited to have you on as an ambassador and a longtime friend of Opolis and East Denver. But I think a question on everyone's mind is, when Opolis, Hawaii?
Well, that is something we are working on. I think
Like a
it's
retreat?
it's a great place.
As an ambassador, there's meetups we can host, and I love Hawaii. That's actually a place like one day I hope to live. I've been to Maui a few times, but it would be really awesome to cultivate more community out there, bring more Web3 education to those communities.
Yeah, like a Hawaii camp out.
Yeah, I mean, when Hawaii camp out?
I was on the Big Island and I was like, I want to come back here and bring people to Palolu Valley and go camping. And I just think it's one of the things in the Web3 space I see too so much is, we're on our screens, we're, connected to our devices, but we're connected to nature and each other. And I just
Yes.
think the idea of, just, us gathering as humans in a forest by an ocean is really nice. So I hold that vision as well for this.
Imagine an IRL camp social camp out with Opolis. That'd be so
Yeah.
cool.
Believe me, I've put it out there already, pitched it as in a world I definitely want to be where we're hosting, co-hosting a camp out. I think that would be so much fun.
I do have
Yeah,
access
absolutely.
to a property in Maui that's fairly large. They've had like festival styled events there. So yeah, that's something I would love to talk about and collab on. And just another thing you mentioned, Amber, is the importance of taking a break from technology. Something that I did in 2022 was do a technology detox, and I felt like that really improved my productivity, sleep, my performance at work. So if any of you guys are interested in doing that, reach out to me if you want to learn more about it. It's really, really beneficial to mental health, I believe.
100%. Haley and I had been talking about, Haley doing more art and the importance of that. I've been playing guitar and singing. I don't know, V, what have you been doing to be not online these days?
I think having two young kids is a pretty good distraction to keep me offline a lot.
Nice.
I don't know
They bring the nature to
I don't know
you.
how you all do Web3 with kids. That's just, it blows my mind. I have such a deep respect for people who have children and also work full time in Web3. I don't know how you all do it.
100%.
It's easier than
Shout out
not
to
working in
them.
Web3 with kids.
There you
As I
go.
hear
Just having
children in the
kids isn't
background.
easy, maybe. Well, I think that's amazing. Shout out to all of those out there, taking on the responsibility of having a family. I think that that's, something that when you think of who we are and what, even if you take a step back and look at Opolis and, you know, even Camp Social and the type of work that we get to do, it's like there are standards that we're breaking, and we're reshaping how we work, where we work from, and how we get to spend time with our families. And, still having a family is a great responsibility. And I think that, especially in Web3 or any field now, you have such great variability. And so, just having that, I guess, fortitude and like perseverance and faith and trust to keep going is notable. And I just want to raise up those who are with or without a family, but especially if you've got that extra responsibility. It's a beautiful thing, and I thank you for just showing up in the ways that you do.
It really is. I just want to commend all of you that continue to show up, that do have children. And I want to just take a moment to take a step back and just go through some of the questions I have prepared for some of our speakers for today. We've talked about how you all got involved in Web3. We've talked a little bit about your stories and what you guys have worked on. Now, a question I have for all of you is, what are you most excited about for ETH Denver?
Yeah, I mean, I can speak. I think Haley's in the UK, so won't be joining, and Zvi's gonna be holding down the fort with the kids. But
Excuse me. I still have things to say. I'm still excited for ETH Denver, even though I'm not
okay,
attending.
be excited, Haley. Tell me what's up.
Yeah. I believe my aunt's going to be heading over to ETH Denver via the way of Burrito DAO to the Enigma Bazaar. There's going to be an event there, which it's going to be a little fabulous soiree. And if we have any other artists in the venue right now, in this space, there is a form up where you can go submit your art. Maybe your art will go to ETH Denver as well. I think for everybody who hears about these amazing events and like, oh God, my passport's expired. I'm not ready. I can't go do this right now. I think it's a wonderful thing that Web3 lets us participate regardless of where we are in the world. But no, Amber, you are actually going to show up, so you should go ahead with everything else. But I did want to just
That's
throw one
no,
out
it's
there for us
so
folks.
important. Thank you. And that is true. Like hybrid style events are such a beautiful thing for accessibility when you talk about inclusivity and accessibility. So super grateful that that opportunity exists. And I'm really excited to actually be there and see, like I said, so many of the people who I've been, building and chatting with and collaborating with. I'm really excited for DAO Planet's DAO DAO Denver event. I'm excited, of course, for like all the beautiful things that are going to come through Opolis as well, and getting involved with the Bankless and MGD event, side event. Yeah, I'm excited to meet both communities that already exist and then creators in all their forms. I'm excited to see who ETH Denver is. Like I've I was supposed to go last year and ended up staying in LA for meetings, and everything that I heard about ETH Denver was just like the highest vibration, the most like inclusive, fun,
Yes.
really natural, super like human connection related kind of event, and not a conference like you go and get a badge and mill around, but like really making relationships and people finding each other to build. And so even though it occurs in this moment of time of that week long, I feel like that energy of creation and those builders that come together are continuing to build long after. And so I can see how Buffaquin Ventures makes sense, obviously, and just doubling down on good people coming together in the name of exploring a technology that really allows us to coordinate and to have more transparency and hopefully a more equitable, inclusive future for all of us. So yeah, just excited to see people learn more and connect.
Wow, Amber, I didn't know that this was your first ETH Denver. I'm just so excited for you. Like, I like to say, whatever you set out with the intention to do, you can manifest here. Like, last year was my first ETH Denver, and I set out with the intention to make new friends, to learn new things, and to have the ability to leave my 9 to 5 job and work full time in Web3. And I've done all of that and more since that time. And I really attribute a lot of positive things in my life to ETH Denver. Like, I have to honestly say, every conceivable aspect of my life has improved from that event. So yeah, I want to pass the mic over to Josh and just hear a little bit about what you're most excited about for ETH Denver, Josh.
Yeah, good question. There are so many things that I'm excited about for ETH Denver. One, like the new and expanded venue that's going to make it so that we can host so many more bidlers. The village style of the layout that'll make it so that people can stay relatively within the realm of interest. So, like if you're into DAOs, you can spend the entire time in a DAO village without, being shilled NFT projects. And if you're really into NFTs, you can learn all about NFTs without having to be shilled DeFi things. And you can walk into the other village if that's what you want. So instead of just getting whiplash from stages changing over, things are very well like organized and thought out. I'm one of the co-founders of the Buffcorn Biddle Brigade, the NFT project of the Buffcorns, of which you can see mine and Russell's here in the audience, and Twillert's, and not enough other Buffcorns. So would love it if we could see more Buffcorns. I love seeing Buffcorns. But this will be the first time in a year that all the Bufficorns are coming together again. So we're going to have a nice big herd meeting, and we've got a special lounge. We're going to make sure that all Buffcorns are taken care of.
Am I the only one not able to hear Josh anymore?
I got a phone call.
Nope.
So
Oh, okay.
something cut
I
off.
don't hear him.
What was the last thing you heard?
I heard you talking about ETH Denver things, Bufficorn things, and then I cut off.
That's not particularly helpful in figuring out exactly where I
The
messed
It was
up.
after
specific,
the herd, after the herding.
Oh
After the
yeah,
herding.
Yeah,
the specific
you're excited
sentence.
for the herd
yes, the herd.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the
coming
Buffcorns come
together.
together in a special lounge. That is, I just love meeting Buffcorns in person. That's my thing. Also, Bufficorn is singular, and I always say Bufficorn, but sometimes I say Bufficorns, and I think that's grammatically not correct.
So it's Bufficorn. A group of Bufficorn would be Bufficorn.
Yeah, I heard of Bufficorn. Yeah.
I like that. I see a Bufficorn.
So
Oh, there are some Bufficorn.
what I want to do for the Camp Social team, before ETH Denver, let's get you guys all Bufficorns from the Bufficorn Biddle Brigade. And if you're on this call and you're coming to ETH Denver, or even if you're not coming to ETH Denver and you want to vicariously live through the Bufficorns that are going to ETH Denver, go to the tweet we've shared that says, "Good morning, fellow Bufficorns." So if you click that, there's two different links. I shared Bufficorn Ventures so you guys can learn more about the project, and also Bufficorn Biddle Brigade. So that is a collection on OpenSea. And I'll pass the mic over to Russell if you want to talk a little bit about the collection, what inspired the Bufficorn, and a little bit about Bufficorn Ventures.
Yeah, well, the Bufficorn came, of course, before Bufficorn Ventures. It was a mythical creature, along with the other mythical creatures like the Spork Marmot and the Pegabufficorn and the Spork Whale, and of course Sporky and our Gway and Buffagway. And these, first and foremost, they're the freaking cutest creatures you've ever seen. Like, the only thing that would be cuter is if it came from like a website that just to 12-year-old Japanese kids. But the whole idea behind the Bufficorn is there's a combination of a unicorn, which is what a $1 trillion company, and the buffalo, the bison here in Colorado, which is a rugged animal that is majestic and beautiful, and regardless of what the weather is or how bad or how good it is there. And it was the perfect mascot for ETH Denver. It was the perfect representation of just what we were trying to do with the ETH Denver community at the time, which was to say, we're not looking for unicorns, we're looking for Bufficorns. We're looking for our own. We're not looking for something that Silicon Valley is. We're trying to encourage something that is, very, very Western range, and it is, and if you look at the way over the years, it's really grown and become something more and more. And then, when when Buffcore and Biddle Brigade came along, it was the perfect time to really, engage with our own NFT collection that was being used to fund the cooperative, the DAO that we have. And, and of course, Joshua's, the one who was the main steward in charge of BBB. And he does an amazing job. And those of you who are holding BBB NFTs will be able to access the Buffercorn and Biddle Brigade Lounge, which is going to be super hot out of East Denver. So that's something to be super excited about, I think. I've been looking at Buffercorns so much and using them as my background that I kind of like it's second nature to me how great creatures are and everything. When I do talk to people that don't have seen, like, what on earth is that? And that's exactly the kind of response we want to get. We want people to go, wait, what is I'm looking at? And I need to take a second and figure this out because it's crazy cool. Now, if they see the Buffagway, they be like, "What on earth is that? Is that a Baby Yoda or what?" But
Have you,
the Buffagway. Go ahead,
Russell. Have you played with the Trade Swapper yet?
I have not, but I've heard it is amazing. Do you want to talk a little bit about it?
Yeah, I wish I could pin a tweet. I don't think I have one. There's a private. You know what? I can find one. We're in private beta right now. But basically, the core premise behind the Buffacorns is be the Buffacorn, right? And I had a conversation, it was just a mind-blowing conversation last night with somebody about NFT projects and how we measure value. And a lot of the value that's measured in most of the ecosystem, because a lot of things in crypto and Web3 are inherently financial products, right? Or financial in nature. And we look at the value of these things as like volume. Exchanges view things as volume. Journalists and like all of the reporting that has to do with crypto is about like fundraising, analytics, volume. And it's a terrible metric because high volume in an NFT collection means you don't have a community, you have traders who are speculating. And so
Amen.
Thank you. And what we wanted to focus on with Buffacorn is, or what we want to focus on with the Buffcorn is making it so that you can craft or biddle the perfect Buffcorn for you without having to go onto the secondary market and buy the perfect one. Because the chances of you finding one that has, all 9 or 10 traits that fit you perfectly, nearly impossible. And if you find it, it's probably not for sale. So we created 2 rules, like fur and horns are not tradable. That's like core to the identity of the Buffcorn itself. There's lots of things you can trade about yourself. You can trade, or you can change your environment. You can change the food you eat. You can change your clothes, right? But your fur and your horn, those are not changing. They're not dynamic. And so what we've done is we've created a space where Buffcorn can come together. I'm using Buffcorn as the individuals who hold Buffcorn NFTs. Buffcorn can come together as a community and be like, hey, like trading Pokemon or baseball cards back in the day. It's like, hey, Russell, I love the laptop that you've got. Would you like the yerba mate that I'm holding? And we can just swap those two. And it's a metadata swap. So it doesn't technically cost anything. And it's not encouraging volume. That's not the incentive is not, hey, let's see how much money we can take from the community. It's we want you to build the identity that you feel comfortable with embracing and saying, this is the thing that's going to be my thing for the years to come.
Awesome. I'm really excited to see just the dynamic features that you can interchange, and also excited for the Buffacorn hangout spot at East Denver. So I just want to circle back to just the whole mission behind democratizing employment and what we're doing at Opolis. And I guess this is, I'll leave this open ended for any speaker that wants to jump in here. But why are you in particular passionate about democratizing employment? And I just want to let that term sink in for everyone for a moment. Democratized employment. Whatever that means to you, I'm just curious, like Amber, Russell, Josh, Haley, like how you are working to democratize employment and why that's important to you.
I'm going to be short. If you don't mind, sorry, Haley. I'll just do a quick one. To me, this is the one I like talking about a lot. Is in DeFi, in lots of different scenarios, we talk about, are things sufficiently decentralized? There's a few people who have control over a lot of it. It's not sufficiently decentralized. But when I think of decentralized employment, I think of sufficiently decentralizing yourself. If you have one stream of income, you're not sufficiently decentralized because something could happen. FTX could explode, and the employer that you're relying on had money tied up, and now all of a sudden your job is gone. Right now, you're stuck, and that's not just payroll. It's a paycheck. It's the entire employment stack. So being able to own your own employment and be able to lease your time and attention to various different organizations, DAOs, employers, whatever, is the means to sufficiently decentralizing yourself. Thanks, Haley. Sorry for cutting you off.
Yeah, I feel like you barely cut me off. I was like one breath in, and it was like that wasn't being cut off. That's just a long sigh, but that's beautiful, and I have something very similar in the way that back before I was in Web3, I was a drag queen. I used to have to do bingo nights for university students for 50 quid. And that's how I got my paychecks. That's how I lived my life. And the only reason why I got that job is because somebody told me, hey, you can have this. This is something that needs doing. Here you go. And to me, this whole idea of democratizing employment is the idea that instead of leaving it up to one person to say that you can or cannot do something, it's leaving the community around you to say, hey, you actually have a skill set that is valuable in way more ways than the one way that you're saying. Let's put that to the best work it can. So, to me, democratizing employment is telling people, hey, you are not just this one career, you are you. Let's find out where you can fit in and where you can shine above everything else.
That's beautifully stated, Haley. Thank you.
Yeah.
I still haven't had a clap. Can I please have a clap?
Give Haley a clap.
Thank you. It feels.
Ooh, you even got it in there.
All right, okay, I gotta stop. Give me off the show.
That's enough.
When Rachel warned us about the soundboard, she
I
was
was
actually talking
warning
about herself.
myself.
Turns out,
How
yeah,
do I get soundboard?
it's right at the
It's
bottom.
got like a
and
little
when I
magic
opened
wand
it wouldn't
icon.
shut. Yeah. If I could just double down on what Haley was saying too, of the idea that we can actually be all of ourselves in our work, in our lives, in our creation, and be valued for all of who we are. And I love that, yes, in Web3 especially, it seems that this, ethos is there. But even beyond that, just working as a freelancer, when you don't have the structure of a corporation or something saying, this is the one way, I think that what I see in terms of employment is not just do you get a paycheck, but do you have all your needs met? As I was mentioning in the intros, like, do you have access to your healthcare? Do you have access to, managing your taxes and payroll and all these things? So structures and collectives and places where we actually are meeting those needs also allow us or help us to have access to that democratized employment. We have that idea that we can, go out and do our own thing, but sometimes those bigger pieces are really hard to lift on your own. So that's what I love about Opolis and, the coming together of the collective. And then at the same time, I feel like with Camp Social, we have all these different communities that you're part of. And it's a beautiful thing that we are able to contribute to, say, like 3 or 4 communities, and then jump into a space where we have access to connecting with all those individuals outside of silos. So I'm really excited for, the future of work. And I feel like we're just, able to actually do some of the work that it needs to be done. There's just not time not to. And so I'm absolutely in love with, Gitcoin grants and the projects that are supported through that, like 40 Acres and John's, and just seeing, the type of world that we want to live in is actually being created by a bunch of decentralized workforce in the background. We're just, Jedis and gnomes, really just like creating this magical world that we're all going to be living in, that we are living in, and that we're starting to see. So
Wow. Thank you so much for that, Amber. And I really just want to quote our good friend Gary here and say that optimism is a superpower. I believe we all have the power to manifest the future that we want. We're going to have to work for it. And I commend all of the biddlers and all of the people that continue to show up day in and day out in this space. And I'll pass the mic over to Russell now. I know we got about 9 minutes left here. So I typically like to open this up towards the end. If any attendees want to come kick it and vibe, share your thoughts, feedbacks, questions, emotional outbursts, feel free to come up. I'll pass the mic over to Russell.
Hey, thanks a lot. That was really cool hearing everybody's opinions on it. And I think that, it goes for me a lot deeper than the concept of decentralization or de-risking or any of that stuff. It's about having agency over your life. And I think over the last, certainly in the United States and maybe globally, over the last 30 or 50 years, there has been constant movement towards taking agency away from people. You are stuck with your job because you get your healthcare benefits from it. You have to support a certain candidate because their decision is what drives the decision that has something to do with the benefits that you get, depending on what country you're in. The idea that the choices you make can cost you so much more simply because you're a human being instead of a corporation are intensely unjust. And what is absolutely beautiful about what Opolis does is it returns that agency to you because, if the corporations can cheat and say that they're people, why can't we as people be corporations? Can, right? And we can take that. The healthcare benefits, retirement benefits, the just expensing, being able to do expenses pre-tax, being able to leverage some sort of cogent tax strategy to give yourself a bit of an upper hand when compared to large corporations. The kinds of things that you can do with Opolis that allow you to be in charge of your career in a way that that really has never existed before. And as we talk about how it's expanding and moving on to so many different places. And I'm a firm believer that Web3 is merely the tip of the iceberg. Where we really need to expand is contractors all over the world, and anyone who's got two or three gigs. And I mean, personally, I've started 3 different companies, and Opolis didn't exist for me, so I had to pay a ridiculously expensive option for insurance. Either go with Cobra or to do it, and that was horrible. And that was insurance decisions are just plain horrible. And the things that you can do with retirement, things you can do to minimize how you're taxed in disadvantageous ways as an individual self-employed person, give you so much more control of your career. And as this becomes the norm, it is going to change the way that people work, change the way they look at companies. No longer will you have to be hat in hand to a company and have to jump at the next opportunity. You'll be able to plan your career or choose to take 6 months off, right? You'll be able to do those things much more or everyone will be able to do those kinds of things much more as a result of taking advantage of the employment commons and being a member and earning work and bringing on new people into the co-op.
Wow, thank you so much, Russell. I'm going to give you a round of applause there. We seriously just have so many all-star speakers today, so many brilliant minds on this call. And Russell, I really just have to commend you for your continuation of being an evangelist of Opolis and bringing more power to individuals to be their own boss, to be in charge of their own employment, of their own energy. I met with you back at ETH Toronto, and I was just really impressed by your energy, man. And you just showed up every step of the way to support what we're doing at Opolis. And I'm just extremely grateful for you, man. You've been a really big part of my Web3 journey.
Aw, that's so sweet.
That wasn't me this time. I'm sorry. I get all mushy up here. I'm filled with gratitude and love for everybody. All right, I'm gonna let anyone that wants to come up talk now. Any burning questions, concerns, commentary. Feel free to come up, you guys. I want to encourage everyone to feel like this is a safe space. Like you can share whatever you want in regards to democratizing employment. Buffacorn.
John, come up if you can hear.
I just invited John to speak. I'm going to invite Dylan up
Sweet.
too. So one of the people, or I should say the person that introduced me to Web3 is Dylan. And I got my start in DAOs working on Bridge Builders DAO. So thank you, Dylan. I'm here because you showed me Web3. I have notes from a couple, how long ago was this now? Like 2 years ago? We had like phone conversations and I literally have it written down in one of my notebooks, like what is an NFT? What is a DAO? So Dylan was really the person that taught me all of that stuff and introduced me to Web3. We had really long conversations, man. You taught me so much. And when I didn't know anything. I asked a question. He invited me onto a call once, and they were like, "We need more devs." And I literally asked, "What's a dev?" So I've gone from that to here in that time, and I'm just so grateful, Matt. Thank you for introducing me to such an awesome community, like a revolution. Seriously.
Yeah, it's a really cool space to be in, and it's new for all of us. I feel, and it's still being explored. And yeah, I don't even know where to begin. Like, there's so many, there's still so many unanswered questions. And ever since you joined that call, I remember specifically where I think you were in the middle of like a random park running, and you were like, I needed to get outside, and you were just like, I'm gonna get outside and start running. And I was like, great. um so yeah, you were like super energized back then, and then you were so ready.
I'm
So like,
still energized. Like this space just lights me up and gives me energy. I like to say Opolis is my coffee, seriously.
it's so cool. It's so cool. But yeah, so the Bridge Builders DAO is still kicking. We started a new sub thread group for BNB because I was recently onboarded to BNB. I've now been inaugurated as the first technology evangelist here in the United States. So that was a huge moment for just myself, and just to see how far we all came together as a group. That the whole purpose of Bridge Builders DAO was to, it's the three sentences, which is like bring developers and communities together through education. And we just kept propping each other up. And if it weren't for the help of others, we would not be where we are today. And it's beautiful to see like how far that can actually go. Like when you make a raw connection with people, and you try really hard, you can kind of make anything happen.
So true.
Not everything is like possible, but everything that you didn't think was possible kind of like steps itself right in front of you. So it's it's kind of magical to see how everything kind of blossoms, so to speak.
Dylan, I never anticipated going from running my own juice business in Southern California to moving to the San Francisco Bay Area, working on DAOs, publicly speaking, curating events, and Freelancer Friday calls. My entire life has changed since learning about Web3 and Opolis and DAOs. And it really started when you introduced me to Bridge Builders DAO. And I actually started hosting crypto cafe meetups in SoCal. That was how I first got involved in the space. And that was an initiative through Bridge Builders DAO. So I am eternally grateful for that DAO. I would go to meetups and just add everyone to that Telegram group. And when I first joined, I had no idea what they were talking about, but I was like, I really love the energy of this movement. I love the people, and I feel like these people are going to change the world in some way for the better. So I just kept showing up, and every week, their intelligence and terminology and everything just started to rub off on me, and I learned a little bit more each week. And I'm so grateful for having that as a starting point. Um, we are at the top of the hour here. So, I mean, I'll pass the mic off to anyone else that wants to share anything, any questions, concerns, closing thoughts.
I'll close out too. That anyone that's on the call, I invite you to visit camp.social and set up a camp and host your first social, or join the Opolis camp on Camp Social. We'll tweet out the camp invitation. But just to start, hosting socials, connecting with other humans in the space or in your community, and also open and would love for any feedback around product and what your needs are. So join our Discord, which is listed in our Twitter profile, or reach out to myself or Haley if you're interested. We would love to, have you on board, and it's free to use. And I think it's also just a great way as well to have people who are not Web3 native invited into some of the tooling of Web3, like wallets and rewards and recognition points. So it's not exclusively for Web3. You could just be a digital community of any kind. And I really love that and think that bridge building in that way is important. So the invitation is there. And if you're not on Opolis yet, I think my link is in the bio for joining Opolis. And just close it with just a lot of gratitude for everybody that joined, that took the time, especially those that I personally invited that joined. And thank you so much. And I really just hope that, everybody that's on this call has a really, really beautiful weekend and just feels so nourished and supported and abundant and sourced. So I'll leave you with that. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Amber. I am really just filled with gratitude today for each and every one of you. Joshua, any closing thoughts? Any thoughts or anything you'd like to share?
I don't think so. Happy. Yeah, I actually do. This is a tweet I was going to send. We were at the Chinese grocery store earlier today, and normally we get the normal groceries, but today I noticed that my wife put a few more things that were more nostalgic based in the cart. So I wanted to say a shout out and Happy New Year to everyone who's celebrating the Lunar New Year, and sending love and warmth toward folks in the diaspora who don't get to spend Chinese New Year with their families.
Awesome. Thank you, Joshua. Any closing thoughts from Haley? Any speakers that want to come up and say a few words?
I have something that's a bit silly. I want to find out what the kangaroo sound is.
Okay.
Oh my god! Ah! That's brilliant! Let this be a reminder to always follow your novelty and take wherever your brain scratches too hard.
Cool. And with that, I hope you all have an amazing weekend. And also, I like to close out the spaces and say that I hope you take time this weekend to do something that brings you joy, whether it's just slowing down, doing some self-care, doing something for you. I hope that you find time to fit that into your weekend, you guys. And again, just overwhelmed with gratitude for this community and for all of you for coming today. Griff, Travis, P. Sands, a bunch of people in the audience here, John. Really awesome to see you all today. And thank you guys for joining.